We really started off with a classic Marvel Netflix Remember What I Am kind of episode. And no one cares episode. Hello everybody, it's Emery48 here and welcome back to another Marvel Monday. Yes, it's not Monday, but it is Marvel. We're talking about Marvel Netflix, specifically everything between Defenders and Daredevil Season 3. So that is Punisher, that Season 1, that is Jessica Jones Season 2, Luke Cage Season 2, and Iron Fist Season 2. And man, this stuff is so copy-paste. Episode 1, every show, the main character fights somebody who has nothing to do with the plot, if the show actually has a plot, because that's debatable with some of these. Episode 2, they meet the villain, or we meet the villain as the viewer. At least Villain A. Villain A normally gets overthrown in episode 5 or 6, either by death from the new villain, or just by being replaced by the new villain. Or you find out that they're not actually a villain, kind of thing. Then you've got about 5 episodes of random scrapping with the villain, mental or physical, and then it finally boils over into all the characters coming together, even though you never thought that their plot lines would align, into one place, and the villain probably dies or gets arrested so that they can break out later. That's what every Marvel Netflix show is, whether the show's good or bad, by the way. That's how they've all gone. Whether everything in between all of that stuff is actually quality television, that's what's up in the air. Unfortunately, more times than not, it's not quality. Now, the rest of this video is going to be me going through a lot of Marvel Netflix. It's about 50 hours, I want to say. It's 4 seasons and just about 49 episodes in those 4 seasons. It's a lot. Most of that wasn't good. We'll be realistic. Punisher was a good show. Pretty good. I have my updated list of rankings now for shows in Marvel. Punisher comes in 4th. It's in between Loki and Hawkeye for me. I actually really enjoyed it. Jessica Jones moved down 2 positions and is now in 7th. It was not a good season of Jessica Jones. Luke Cage, I felt its spot was pretty good. It's in 9th between Defenders and Secret Invasion. This season was frankly worse, but not bad enough to move it below Secret Invasion. And Iron Fist may move out of last, actually. It may move above Moon Knight and possibly even She-Hulk with this season. But then I have to remember that last season was really bad. So it might only move up 1 spot, but it's either going to be last or second last. It was a better season than the first, but by no means good enough to consider the show good. But the season was better. It was shorter. 3 episodes shorter. That's really nice. The fights were better, but the plot was gone for most of it, which is weird because the plot was the only thing that they had kind of correct in season 1. But we'll hop back to what we started with in this journey, which feels like a really long time ago, but I think I started watching these episodes about a week and a half ago. So it hasn't really been that long. I've just watched a lot of this in a very short time frame. It's The Punisher, Season 1, Episode 1, 3 a.m. Now, this show took me by surprise. It was much better than expected. It was violent. It's a very good show, not one for the faint of heart. If you don't like violence and gore, don't watch it. If you don't mind that, and frankly, if you enjoy that, this is a good show. It's got a really intriguing plot line. The fights are absolutely terrifying. There's some good action. And frankly, there's some moments of actual, veteran appreciation isn't really the right word, but education on like what happens to veterans when they come home, which is touching as someone who's lived in a family with military members in it. It's a very interesting look into it because you don't see it portrayed very often in television. Frank completes his revenge tour, killing the remnants of the gangs in Alabama, Mexico, and New York City. The episode did start a bit slow. Frank has a new name, Pete, working construction. An investigator is looking into Frank's military past and heroin trafficking. Frank kills his coworkers who robbed a gang and the gang. The coworkers had turned on one who let his ID fall out of his pocket, exposing them on the theft. Frank was an absolute badass in the last 10 minutes. This show kind of, not much happened. It built what he was up to. And then he just starts killing people. Sledgehammer, cement mixer. Rather terrifying. But this is what I was talking about. Episode 1, badass fight. Villain's not involved in this at all at this point. Not at all. Episode 2, Two Dead Men. Really enjoy the music so far. Marvel Netflix has done very well with this for the most part. The music overall is quality. And it adds ambiance to shows whether they are good or they are bad. Which is nice. You look at Luke Cage, has great music throughout. Really helps when you're in a bad episode. Just gives you something to vibe to. Someone Frank knew, who is also supposed to be dead, cryptically contacts Frank. The amount of dream flashbacks to the same thing is nuts. We keep seeing his wife waking him up. And this is one of the main problems I had with Iron Fist Season 1. We get it. At least in Punisher, it expands every time. You see something a little different, maybe a different scenario. It goes on a little bit longer. But we get it. We know it. I don't need it every time he falls asleep in the show. It's too much. There's a video of Frank murdering the investigator's partner during interrogation in Afghanistan. Frank talks with Karen. Micro is former NSA, presumed dead. Frank visits Micro's wife. Frank attacks, tortures, and kills Agent Wolf after he reveals that they arranged the hit on his family to kill him. Frank visits Micro and knocks him out in one punch. Micro not very of a fighting kind. NSA agent more of the tech side. Episode 3, Kandahar. Frank has tied up Micro, and he claims the 3-minute timer is a self-destruct for his base. Flashback to Afghanistan. Frank killed a lot of Afghans on the mission to cover up the heroin trafficking and lost men in that mission. Otherwise, the plot didn't really advance. Lieberman/Micro has convinced Frank to work together, but Frank wants to kill everyone involved, or he won't help. Episode 4, Resupply. The show gives a frightening and likely realistic look into the actual home life of a veteran. This is a quote, "Pissed off beats scared every time." Yeah, I don't know if that's good, but that's funny. Frank and Micro steal weapons from the Greeks that Madani and Homeland Security were going to arrest. Micro destroys Madani's car and badly injures her. Frank makes sure she lives and tells her he killed Wolf, who was dirty. I'm annoyed with these episodes accomplishing nothing for 40 minutes, and then every plot point is in the last 10. You really don't have to watch the first 3/4 of the episode. Just skip to the last 10 minutes. You get all the action, and you get all the plot. It's kind of unfortunate. It's an unfortunate pacing of the show, but the last 10 minutes of every episode is just so good. Episode 5, Gunner. Frank is hitting on Micro's wife. Karen is the wholesome for this story. She really comes in on occasion and, lightens the mood a little bit. Tries to get Frank to, calm down slightly. Frank visits an old military buddy. CIA knows Frank is alive. Frank and Gunner kill the CIA team, but both get shot. Frank doesn't show up to dinner with Micro's family. Gunner most likely dies from his injuries. Frank passes out from his. Micro picks him up and gets him out before he has the chance to bury Gunner, like he had said he would. Episode 6, The Judas Goat. Lewis killed O'Connor for lying about his service record. Frank meets with Billy Russo. Billy wanted to lure Frank into a trap. He is working with Agent Orange, the ultimate enemy in the show. Which, as I said, episode 6, we finally get to see. It's predictable. It's way too predictable. Especially if somebody gets announced in this episode, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, they're it. Episode 7, Crosshairs. Ripped Crosshair over in Bad Batch, but that's fine. Lewis was on the verge of shooting himself, but didn't. Frank got info off the doctor from Kandahar. He had to shoot but not kill a young soldier while escaping the base. Lewis has built a bomb. Billy knew the sex worker that helped them, and Billy killed the sex worker that helped them and Marty, the doctor. Frank tries to snipe Agent Orange at his safe house, but the windows are bulletproof. Episode 8, Cold Steel. Frank goes to check on Lieberman's family. The wife kisses Frank, and Micro saw it on the camera setup. Micro tries to call him a Donnie, so Frank knocks him out. Homeland Security versus Anvil, which is Billy Russo's company. Billy kills Madani's partner, but she never sees Billy. The rest of Billy's team died. A lot of Homeland officers died. Frank helps Sarah Lieberman with her son. Micro almost gets close enough to his family for his son to see him. Billy comforts Madani after the mission. Which is ironic, but we move forward. Episode 9, Front Toward Enemy. Frank and Micro are staking out Madani's apartment based on her grief. They do not think she is dirty. Then bombs go off in the area. Lewis set off 3 bombs and killed many and wounded others, then sends a letter to Karen. Curtis found Lewis with O'Connor's body. He kills Curtis with Curtis's fake leg. Lewis didn't actually kill him, but it seemed like he did, but strapped him to a chair and a bomb. Frank has found Curtis. Frank disarmed the bomb and steals a cop car. Micro meets with Madani. Frank's face is on the news, and Frank is expected to be the bomber. They're kind of looping him together with Lewis. Episode 10, Virtue of the Vicious. Lewis kills an Anvil employee who has been protecting an outspoken senator. Lewis attacked the senator, killing 4 more Anvil guards, but the senator survived. Karen was interviewing the senator at the time. Madani knows they were attacked by Anvil workers. Billy shoots Frank while talking to Madani. Billy and Madani get taken away by NYPD. Frank got away from them and got Karen away from Lewis, who then blew himself up. Karen helped Frank escape. Episode 11, Danger. I didn't finish writing the word danger, but I think the episode is called Danger Close. Billy was let go by NYPD. Frank ends partnership with Micro. Lieberman family sees Frank on the news. Madani interviews Billy, and they both slightly threaten each other. NYPD seemed fake. Seemed like they were fake NYPD. After the Lieberman family, Frank agrees to work with Micro again when they see Micro's wife and son taken. David goes to his daughter. Frank kills an Anvil kill squad. Billy finds the after effects of the battle and the proof against him and Rollins. Rollins is in muddy water with his boss at the CIA. Episode 12, Home. Frank turns himself in to Madani. He begins recording testimony against Rollins and Billy. Frank reveals that he pulled the trigger in the video, killing her partner. Frank and Micro exchange themselves for David's wife and son. Homeland shows up and fakes killing David. Billy tells Frank that Homeland killed David. Rollins starts beating Frank. Frank stabs Rollins. Billy stops the attack. Rollins beats Frank again. The torture is being recorded by Micro. Billy stops the torture and unties Frank, allowing Frank to brutally kill Rollins. Homeland arrives before Billy can finish Frank off. Episode 13, Memento Mori. Madani and David bring Frank to her dad to stitch him up unofficially. Billy was shot but escaped. He kills all of the Homeland officers that came to arrest him at Anvil HQ, then blows up the building. Billy goes after Curtis, shoots him once. Frank stops him before killing him. They set a meet to finish everything, where his family died. Billy vs. Frank. Brutal gunfight. And extended fight at the merry-go-round. Very loving place to have a death duel. Madani showed up and Billy shot her in the head. Frank brutally destroyed Billy's face, so he knows pain. Billy is in a coma. Madani will recover. They are going to let Frank go as Pete, which is his alias, to start the alias that he had at the start of the show. This definitely goes into the 4th overall. I said that earlier. Nails you with emotion, much more than I expected it to. Action is great. And a good plot line. I'm actually excited to see what Punisher Season 2 lays out. Hopefully it can maintain the quality. If not, it might get bumped down. But if it maintains the quality, it will stay where it is in 4th, which is a pretty good spot considering what's above it for shows. We now move on to the stuff that's bad. And that is Jessica Jones, Season 2, Episode 1, a.k.a. Start at the Beginning. Jessica attacks a competing PI who owns a company and gets arrested. The chase and death of Speedy Boy was so shit. It looked bad, like really bad. He looks... I don't get how they can't do hero action in this show when they do hero action in other shows. That's about all I have on that comment. Malcolm is the best. Great side character. This show does the feeling of something being behind you very, very well. I don't know what it is. I think it was because of David Tennant's character in the last season, where you were never sure if there actually was going to be someone behind you. But anytime it is walking down a hallway, it is ominous and terrifying, especially if the lights are out. Jessica finds the place she was tested on. Episode 2, aka Freak Accident. The doctor that tested on her died in a car accident. It's the doctor she presumed tested on her. Jessica fights a guy in a wheelchair at the doctor's funeral and finds out Simpson is alive and responsible for the doctor's death. He has also been following Trish, who now has a new boyfriend. Hogarth got bad news from a doctor and picked up a street hooker. Simpson isn't the killer. He has been following Trish, protecting her. There is a hit out on her by the doctor's partner in IGH. A super killer kills Simpson, but leaves without engaging Jessica or Trish. Never saw a face, but could jump a lot. Episode 3, aka Soul Survivor. Hogarth has ALS. Jessica meets with Dr. Jansen of IGH, who Trish finds out is actually dead. This woman has powers and climbed a building to escape. Episode 4, aka God Help the Hobo. Griffin is kind of sus. He's snooping around. Someone stole all of Jessica's files. A Chang employee the other super attacked him and brutally kills him right outside of Jessica's apartment building. Episode 5, aka The Octopus. Super burns the evidence Jessica had, destroys piano over a baby crying. Jessica has told the police everything she knows. Trish and Griffin get engaged, which is why he was snooping around, so not sus. Invited her friends and family, and that's why he's been snooping. Trish breaks off the engagement before the party even really happens. Trish is taking Simpson's adrenaline drug, relapsing through her previous drug problems, and it is causing a lot of issues. Jessica finds the head doctor with the super in an aquarium. The super punches one of the windows, causing the aquarium to get evacuated because the water's about to, spill out of the exhibit. Episode 6, aka FaceTime. Trish is so very addicted to Simpson's drugs, takes another hit, and sleeps with Malcolm. The super is Jessica's dead mom. Why? Episode 7, aka I Want Your Cray Cray, which is the name of a pop song that Trish released back in the day when they were of college age. This is essentially a flashback episode. Jessica and Trish non-college experience realistically, her mom's angry recovery, and Jessica's mom killed her college boyfriend because she thought he wasn't good for her. Awesome. After story time, her mom asks for forgiveness and Jessica punches her. Then the doctor sedates Jessica. Maybe don't ask for forgiveness right away. You just told your daughter that, you'd been watching her for like a long time and you killed her boyfriend. Maybe not the time to ask for forgiveness. Maybe let her sit on that for a little bit, process what just happened. Episode 8, aka Ain't We Got Fun. Malcolm knows Trish is on something. She tells him what she's been taking. Jessica and her mom reminisce and escape before the police arrive. Doctor also got away, but not with them. Malcolm turns Hogarth's partners against each other. Malcolm got jumped by 3 guys and Trish beats them up, gives Malcolm the inhaler and he takes it. Sniper shoots into Alias, where Jessica is hiding her mom. Jessica gets grazed and her mom goes after them. Episode 9, aka Shark in the Bathtub. Really stupid name, by the way. Chang is the sniper. Jessica sedates Chang and kidnaps him so her mom doesn't kill him. Trish quits her radio show. Someone who was tested on by IGH attempted to heal Hogarth. Trish gets an audition from TV news. Her inhaler runs out. Jessica's mom attacked her for calling the police on her. She gets arrested. Episode 10, aka Pork Chop. Doc doesn't know of the healer Trish speaks with. Jessica's mom alone. Trish uses Malcolm to find the doc. The healer and nurse loot Hogarth's apartment and leave. Trish puts Malcolm in the trunk and goes after Doc. Jessica killed the prison guard in his home that was torturing her mom. Episode 11, aka 3 Lives and Counting. Jessica frames it as a suicide and sees Kilgrave all proud. She starts, picturing him. Doc was gone when Jessica got to the motel. She is seeing David Tennant a lot, and this is great. I realized with this episode, bringing David Tennant back, this show's only good when he's in it. When he is playing a villain, this show is interesting. When he is not there, it is pointless. And that's the main reason why it dropped, is because it's all around one actor. The action in this show isn't great. The plot in this season is pretty bad. The villain in this season, kind of useless. But David Tennant is really cool. Trish wants the doc to give her powers. Jessica gets Trish out when experiment goes poorly, and Doc kills himself, blowing up IGH. Jessica's mom found out Doc is dead, attacks guard, and breaks out. This show is really only good with David. I know I've already said that, but I can reiterate it because it's very true. AKA, episode 12, AKA, Pray for My Patsy. Jessica's mom goes after fake Trish. She is now going after Trish in the hospital. Jessica stops her. Jessica's mom killed a cop and ran. Trish blames Jessica for ending the surgery. Trish wants Jessica to kill her mom to end it. Hogarth buys a gun from Turk. Hogarth spins a tale to Inez and gives her the gun. Inez shoots Shane and Hogarth reports it. Gets back the two people that got her. Trish has some sort of exorcism. I don't know. She freaked out. Jessica gets kidnapped by her mom after asking her to turn herself in. Episode 13, aka Playland. Jessica and her mom save a family from a burning car fire. Malcolm helps Hogarth secure a better deal from her firm after he finds dirt on her two partners. Trish kills Jessica's mom. Jessica was not happy, but takes responsibility when police arrive, as they were also searching for Jessica's mom. Malcolm has taken a job with Chang. They sign on with Hogarth's new independent firm. And at the end of the show, Jessica tells Trish that she shouldn't have killed her mom because now all she sees when she sees her is her mom's murderer. Not a great season, if we're realistic. And I believe this is the one with a third season after Daredevil. I know there's a Punisher season 2, but I believe there's also a Jessica Jones 3. And the way this one ended off, I don't want a third season. I really don't. We move on to Luke Cage season 2, which I had some hope for. I was hoping it'd improve, but I think I've realized that Cornell Stokes was the coolest villain that this show will ever have, and we have nowhere to go from there. Episode 1, Soul Brother number 1. Music is still great. That's something that they can't take away from me. Action is still janky. That's also apparently something they can't take away from me. I mean, he's a dude that's significantly overpowered, and he can just slap people on the head and they fall down, so it always kind of looks stupid. The season will likely depend on the villain, and it's not Cornell Stokes, but it is Stokes. Hopefully it doesn't match Jessica Jones by bringing a worse villain for season 2. They didn't even bring a new villain. I mean, they did, but he didn't end up mattering as a villain. That's always great. They introduce a new villain that you think, oh, he's going to take over. I thought he was Cornell Stokes 2.0, just more bad. Pointless. Hopefully it doesn't match. I already said that. Shades is still running stuff, and I like him as a character. He's cool. Luke's dad is in town. Luke survives an attack, then dabs on camera. The whole social media aspect of this season really didn't need to happen. Partially bulletproof Jamaican wants to take Harlem from Mariah. Luke gloats to Mariah and shades at him not dying. Overall, pointless episode. We really started off with a classic Marvel Netflix remember what I am kind of episode. And no one cares. Episode 2, straighten it out. Luke Cage does a training montage with Todd Bowles and some ESPN talent. I don't really care. I don't get the point. I get it, it's New York, but keep the Jets out of Marvel. You know, I don't need them. Mariah and Shades are such a weird couple. Another thing I didn't really need to see. It's so weirdly touchy. Like, they're touchy, but they're not touchy, but then they are touchy, and it's like, what are you doing? And she's got to be older. Like, he's always in the pictures with them as, like, longtime gang guy, but he looks young, and she looks old. It's kind of frightening. Okay, we'll move on. Shades kills the guy the lawyer just broke out for insulting Mariah. Seems like a bit much. If you find him, I hope you beat his ass. Have a blessed day. That's a great quote from anybody. Someone says that to you, that's funny. Luke gets shot by a mega shotgun, dislocated his shoulder. The show is pretty dull so far. Not even action is exciting because it's so uncompetitive. Luke possibly killed the bad man in front of a child. So that's great. I don't want a full season of this. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that's what I keep getting. Episode 3, Wig Out. Not quite dead, but panicked as kid for sure. He can deflect bullets now as well, which is really stupid. The whole it doesn't hurt you, but he's bang, shoulder popping, and it's killing people, or not killing people. He is accurate to the point where he can just injure people with a deflected shoulder pop of a bullet and not kill them. Misty beats up a couple guys in a really empty bar with help from Colleen. A little merger here from Iron Fist. Granted, they were all in Defenders, so I guess it's not really that much. Luke punches a wall while arguing with Claire. Makes her very scared, and Claire kicks Luke out. She had grown up in an angry household, so she didn't want to continue living in one. On the sidewalk, Luke gets knocked down by some Jamaican dude. Episode 4, I Get Physical. Luke fights back and gets knocked out. Stephen A. Smith talks a Luke Cage knockout on his show. Misty and Luke found a headless body at the Jamaicans' recently emptied out headquarters. Shade's right hand is working with Misty's new boss as a snitch. Danny and Colleen have offered Misty a prosthetic arm. Carl Lucas gets served. Episode 5, All Sold Out. Misty gets prosthetic arm from Rand. 3 heads of criminal associates are put on stakes at Mariah's facility opening. Episode 6, The Basement. Misty hands over her badge. Luke brings Piranha to his dad's church and challenges Bushmaster, I don't know why I wrote it as Bushwhacker in this one, to a fair fight. Bushmaster uses pocket sand and paralyzes Luke. Really stupid looking too. It was the paralyzation was lame. Knocking him off the bridge into the water. Episode 7, On, and that's how I feel about this season. It just keeps going on, even though nothing is getting accomplished. Bushmaster captures Piranha and wants all of Mariah's assets. Luke and Misty find Piranha's head in a fish tank. Shades catches his right hand snitching. Right hand kills cop captain. Shades kills right hand. Bushmaster attacks Mariah's house while she is trying to escape with her daughter, Tilda, who didn't even know we had until this point. Bushmaster lights the house on fire with Mariah tied up, which is apparently what Mariah's grandma? Mariah's mom? I think grandma did to Bushmaster's house when his mom was inside it as a kid, so that's great. Tilda tries saving Mariah while the Jamaicans take their place in Harlem's paradise. Luke saves Mariah for some reason from the fire and helps Tilda out. Mariah wants to hire Luke. Episode 8, If It Ain't Rough, It Ain't Right. Luke has agreed to keep Tilda safe while Mariah is talking with the police. Misty is disappointed Luke saved Mariah. Misty's paperwork never got filed, so she is now the highest ranking detective, and Mariah pulls her lawyer off Shades thinking he was something with his right hand. The lawyer had actually left because Mariah is out of money, because it is all Bushmaster's money now. Shades pickpockets Mariah's pistol. The police show up to talk to Bushmaster at Harlem's Paradise, where Mariah's former lawyer shows up to represent the Jamaicans. Luke, his dad, Misty, her replacement, Mariah, and Tilda have fended off Jamaicans and are all together. Episode 9, For Pete's Sake. The group escapes to an unopened Rand facility. Misty and other cop go back to the precinct. New person put in charge, and she doesn't like Misty much. Tilda wants Luke to tell her the truth about Mariah. New cop snitches to Bushmaster about Mariah's location. Mariah told Tilda the truth about some of their family past, including the fact that she is a child from an incest rape from Uncle Pete. So that's, a great thing to learn. Bushmaster attacks the Rand facility. Luke stalls them long enough for the cops to arrest the Jamaicans. Bushmaster escapes the convoy and goes to Tilda for help after being injured because he blew himself up to escape, which seems dramatic. The amount of strength he has, the fact that he felt he had to blow himself up to escape, I don't know. Whatever. After picking up Bushmaster's uncle, Shades gets Mariah, who had snuck away from the firefight at the Rand facility. Episode 10, the main ingredient. Danny Rand comes to help Luke fight Bushmaster, the savior of the season. Mariah's funds and assets get restored. Shades gives Mariah her gun back. Misty and the police give evidence of the dirty cop. She gets arrested trying to take a private jet. Danny bought the building Bushmaster is using to grow nightshade so they can burn it down, which also seems excessive. Just burn the plant. There was only like one plant in there. I don't know why they have to burn the whole building, especially when you now own it. Again, seems excessive. Misty is offered a promotion to commander of the Harlem precinct. Sugar quits Mariah's crew. Sugar's cool. I like Sugar. Mariah attacks Bushmaster's family restaurant and finds a mole. Kills her and everyone in the restaurant, including burning the uncle alive, then shooting him because he's not dying fast enough. And Shades was unhappy with how events unfolded. He is a gang member, yes, but one that follows the code of the streets. And Mariah is breaking them without regard, really. Episode 11, The Creator. Mariah strikes a deal to get in on the heroin trade. Shades couldn't bring himself to kill Bushmaster's aunt, who survived the attack. Tilda heals Bushmaster, who then finds out about the attack on his family's restaurant. Bushmaster lets Tilda go without harm. Shades quits, attacks Mariah, chokes her after she taunts him. Shades leaves Mariah alive, but a bit out of breath. Shades turns himself in. Luke brings Bushmaster, his aunt. Sugar wants to work with Luke. Episode 12, Can't Front on Me. Some vampire Bushmaster drug thing happened. I don't know, there was like heroin, girl bites a dude, or something. Yeah. Luke and Bushmaster attack the heroin distribution center. Feels like Punisher and Daredevil. Luke didn't want anyone to die, and Bushmaster was pretty happy to kill just about anybody. Tilda asks Bushmaster to kill her mother, and will help him sneak into the club. She gives him a dose of extra power nightshade. Shades starts snitching to Misty and the police. Luke, Bushmaster, Shades, and Misty all scrap in Harlem's Paradise. Bushmaster escapes after being injured. Shades hands over Mariah's murder weapon, and she gets arrested. Episode 13, They Reminisce Over You. Shades gives Luke info to help keep the Italians from taking over Harlem. Mariah gets saved from a murder attempt in jail, and she kills the one that saved her, which... weird choice. Luke tells the Italians to stay out of Harlem. They seem to agree after he breaks a few of their fingers. Bushmaster and his aunt return to Jamaica. Mariah puts hits out on most of her former associates, eliminating people that can testify. Shades kills the assassin after him. Alex gets killed. Shades meets with Mariah. Mariah asks Tilda to watch over Harlem's Paradise. They kiss on the lips, which Tilda initiated. Mariah dies to Tilda's lipstick poison. Shades gets arrested because Mariah died, which this I don't really agree with. Apparently all the deal that Shades had was for a confirmed conviction of Mariah, but because she's dead, they can't convict her, so everything he confessed to, they can now arrest him for, which seems a little bit scummy, because he's the only reason she was in jail, which in turn means he's the only reason she's dead. Mariah gives Harlem's Paradise to Luke in her will, and Tilda not happy. She also gives almost nothing to Tilda except for the Cornell's piano. DW kicks Luke from Pops because he is no longer a neutral hero. He is a crime lord now. Misty does not trust what Luke is becoming. This show is annoying because it ends in a more interesting place than the whole season. It would actually be fun to see Luke Cage as the mob boss in charge of Harlem's Paradise.
That'd just be a cool place to start a season. I mean, it'd be better than anything that we saw in season 2. That's for sure. I've heard in the comics he is mayor of New York City right now. So maybe I gotta go check out the comics, because maybe he's cooler in there than in the shows. Maybe that's true for a lot of these bad shows. We move on to Iron Fist Season 2, which was surprisingly better than Season 1, but it was shorter, so take that into account. The fighting was also significantly better than Season 1. That does have to be said. They did fighting decently in Season 2 compared to Season 1, where it was all bad unless it was Colleen doing it. The Fury of Iron Fist. Joy wants to be compensated to leave Rand. Ward is unhappy. Danny signs and agrees. Joy and Davos are plotting against Danny and Ward. The fights are actually better. The plot is stupid. It's weird. The plot was like the only intriguing thing that they did on the large scale level in Season 1. And now it's like they tried to fix everything that they did wrong in Season 1 and then got to the point where they kind of forgot that they had to make a plot. Danny and Davos have a minor scrap. Episode 2, The City's Not for Burning. There's a gang war in Chinatown between the triads. A weird new girl keeps bumping into Danny. Ward meets Davos while trying to talk with Joy. Episode 3, The Deadly Secret. Don't know why there was a ... at the end of that title, but there was. Ward and Danny know Joy and Davos are working together, but don't know why. Joy, Davos go to Colleen and Danny's for dinner. Doesn't go well, especially when he says that he was going to invite Ward, but he also didn't show up. Which is weird. They see the photos Mary had brought that Joy had paid for. Danny and Colleen attend negotiations between gangs. It erupts at the start of the war. Davos and Joy confront Mary. She pulls blades towards Davos. Honestly, Mary is an absolute waste of a character in this show. I don't know why she doesn't really accomplish anything that somebody else couldn't have, is I guess my point. Most of what she accomplishes, Davos could have done anyway. Episode 4, Target Iron Fist. Danny is attacked by Mary in a train station. And that was a look into the future for some reason. I don't know why we spoiled what's going to happen later in the episode. Danny finds out Davos attacked Mr. Yang. Misty shows up to talk with Danny and Colleen. So we're doing that merge again with Luke Cage and Iron Fist. And there was a point, I don't remember which episode it was in, where Misty says, I'm going to find help from people that don't need to follow the rules of the police. That would have been the time to bring in Luke Cage. It doesn't happen. I don't know why that was even a line. Misty wants them to back off the gang war so the police can do their job. Mary has a split personality. Danny ignores Misty. Mary attacks Joy. Ward tries to mend things with Joy. She kicks him out. Mary attack happens in the train station. She takes him to a ritual to transfer the Iron Fist from Danny to Davos. Episode 5, Heart of the Dragon. Davos is Iron Fist, attacking one of the gangs. Mary dumps Danny alive in a public space after the ritual. Davos goes on a killing spree, wants to end all criminal organizations by death. Joy and Davos are on different pages now that he has what he wanted. Misty and Colleen arrest Mary in Joy's apartment. Joy reveals the truth of her and Davos's plan, and that Davos is going beyond that. Now, they didn't actually arrest them. They just brought Joy and Mary to their apartment, and I don't really know why. Episode 6, The Dragon Dies at Dawn. Mary is going to bring Danny to Davos while Colleen and Misty are out looking for other stuff, although they don't know that Danny is doing this. Danny talks to Davos. Mary stabs Davos with a syringe. Davos breaks Danny's leg. Davos then passes out, but Mary switches personality, and Davos gets away because Danny is taken away in an ambulance. For some reason, Davos, both of his fists can light up, not just the one, like Danny Rand. Episode 7, Morning of the Mind Storm. Davos wants to recruit the squatter gang. I have no better word for that. Davos's rampage continues. Ward finds out his NA sponsor is carrying his child. Joy wanted the bowl back from Davos. He is starting to train the children. Episode 8, Citadel on the Edge of Vengeance. Davos kills a restaurant owner for not joining his protection, which, now you've lost it. Before, he was killing criminal organization members who were attacking other people. Now you're just killing people. Not that it was good before, but now there's no argument now. One of his students kills another for speaking out. BB helps Joy steal the bowl for Colleen and Danny. Danny wants Colleen to become the Iron Fist instead of him. Episode 5, War Without End. Colleen refuses the offer. Davos attacks Joy for her betrayal. BB killed by the same student. Colleen defeats all of the students. Danny sedates Davos after a short fight. Colleen wants to be the Iron Fist. Misty, Mary, and Ward rescue Joy. Mary knocks out Misty. I don't really get that one, but she does. Tattoo is complete on Colleen, but Davos fights back. Colleen is an Iron Fist. Episode 10, A Duel of Iron. Colleen and Davos both have the power, but because he disrupted the ceremony, it is killing them both, and they are both linked, so if one dies, the other dies. Colleen versus Davos and Misty, and Danny versus Mary. Got 2 epic fights going on. Danny gets Mary to swap personalities, which basically ends the fight. Danny then helps Colleen defeat Davos and take the Iron Fist. Misty arrests Davos. Danny cleans up the apartment and leaves a note and leaves Colleen. Danny and Ward go to Asia to investigate the legacy of the Iron Fist to see what his place in all of this is. Colleen, the Iron Fist, stays in New York City to help stop crime, and she can transfer the Iron Fist from her hand through to her sword, which is really cool. Danny also somehow has Iron Fist powers and transfers it from his hand to guns, into bullets, so he shoots a bullet into other bullet to stop the bullets. I don't get how he has Iron Fist powers. Because they had been taken away, and as far as we saw, it said months later, so something could have technically happened. But as far as we know, as far as we were shown, he never got his powers back. So I don't really get that. But that's how it is. And I think it is good enough that I am going to move it up 1 spot in the rankings. It will go above Moon Knight, because that show had no redeeming qualities, and at least this one figured it out at a very slight margin in season 2. But that is the end of this video's Marvel Netflix journey. It's been a long one. It's been 49 episodes of Marvel Netflix, about 49 hours. We are very ready to slow down slightly. That is this episode, this video. Everything was copy-paste. It was a lot. And it was a lot of not good television. So I hope that you've been able to listen to this, because now you don't have to go through 50 hours. You can just listen to probably what is an hour-long video talking about these 4 shows. I'd watch The Punisher if I was you. Leave everything else out. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.